Mark says, SM Crew, hope all is well. I would like some advice, please. I have my first lead gen site on first page for one of my main keywords, +1 that. And I'm literally number 11 for my main keyword. So I'm going to start contacting people now. Very excited, but I'm also nervous. It's my first one and couldn't have done it without you guys, especially ifttt SEO Academy. It's been very powerful for my site, I believe. Not the only thing, but huge. But I don't like the idea of people ringing one company, the lead gen one, and getting another, the lead fulfiller. Okay, so like the service provider. So what you're asking, what Mark is asking about, guys, is if you have a generic lead gen property and you're selling the leads to another company, and the other company ends up calling the customer that submitted the contact request, and they're calling from a different company now, right? And they announce themselves as a different company. That seems a little bit weird. And yeah, that can be. So what would be your advice? I'm thinking of saying that the lead gen company is teamed up with who's getting the leads. For example, saying something like Plumber Pro Dallas teamed up with Bob's Plumbing. Sorry for the long question, but it's my first time, and I would like some advice from you guys. Trust me, I'm a big skeptic online, as I know most internet marketing is full of slime. Thanks, you guys, for any input will help. Okay, yeah, and you can do that. You can say, for example, well, there's a couple things you can do. You can do what you just mentioned. That is certainly valid. In fact, the lead gen funnel that I set up for the local Kingpin training is exactly the scenario that you're talking about here. It's a generic name that I made, a pseudo brand, as I call it. And I've got the tree service contractor that is servicing those leads. He asked me the exact same question. He says, well, it's kind of weird because they say, well, we called, and you know, when I call and say, hey, this is blah, blah, blah. Well, what he does now is when he returns the call from the lead that comes in, is he says, hey, this is my name from blah, blah, blah. You submitted your details for, you know, blah. And here I'm coming out to you know, give you an estimate or whatever. That is my marketing website. And so that's what he says to cover it. But I'm only doing that because I'm sharing that lead gen funnel in the local Kingpin training. In other words, it'll be shared with you guys. So I didn't want to actually use the contractor's name on that. But for a lot of my lead gen clients, guys, what I'll do is I'll build out the sites and get them ranked or whatever with my own pseudo brand. And then I'll go in and just swap out like the graphics of the logo graphics and put the company, whoever the service provider ends up being, I make it their branding on the site. Does that make sense? So that when somebody lands on the landing page, they see the company's name. It's usually like in an image. Like, so I won't put the company's name in text on the page or in the SEO title and stuff like that, because that could affect my SEO that I've done for that lead gen site with the pseudo brand. But what I'll do is I'll put their graphics on there. I could put a notification bar, like you can use a plugin for that, for example, a notification bar that comes up at the top of the WordPress, the web page that has scrolling text that says we've changed our name or we've partnered with or whatever, and just put their branding on it. Does that make sense? So I like to do that because that way I still keep my site ranked, my digital assets with my pseudo brand kind of like underlying, but I put their branding on that site so that when anybody lands on the site, they know that when the service provider calls the customer, they're going to be familiar with that brand already. So that's just another way that you can do it. And you can do that literally with just graphics, guys. You can even put a pop-up plugin, like an exit pop plugin, for example, on the site that will make a big banner square pop up on the page and say, hey, you know, all service provided by, and in the contractor's name and their logo, something like that. Okay. I totally understand. And, you know, some companies are going to complain about that. And so find another service provider. My point is, you know, there's plenty of contractors, especially, guys, because that's the niche I work in, is contracting niche, right? And there's plenty of contractors out there that are hurting for leads and that could care less what the site looks like as long as they're getting the leads.